Presenting the Orange Blossom Trailblazers with your hosts, Catherine Cochia and Kalitha Anderson.
Hey, Kalitha.
Hey, Catherine.
We are back for another podcast episode today.
So ready for this episode.
In this one, we have Dr. Catherine Christie, which can I just say that I, of course, already love her because we share a name.
It's perfect.
So you know it's going to be amazing.
It is.
But it really is. She shares with us so much about her career and her involvement in the Florida Academy, the National Academy. And I don't know if you know this, but she is the current chair of the foundation for the Academy.
Of course, I know that she is the current chair of the Academy's foundation. And can we just say where we are now that they made it 1 million? They did it, guys. They did it.
So important to be able to provide those scholarships for students that they need to be able to get through school. So we are so excited about the work that the foundation is doing and all of the work that Dr. Christie has done over her career. This is a great episode. There is so much that we get into, and I can't wait for everyone to hear it.
I'm so ready to just get into this episode and learn more about this trailblazer.
Thank you for meeting with me today to get to talk a little bit about your past and as well as where you are now within the Florida Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics and the National Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So I like to start all of these interviews by asking the same question. What made you want to become a dietitian?
I majored in home economics at Florida State because I had a great teacher in high school and we had a club that was surrounding home economics, and she really inspired me to think about that as a career. I thought I was going to major in English or something like that. I took the courses and they didn't resonate in the way that what she was doing did. So I took a course in nutrition early on because I knew that was going to be part of it and I wanted to see what it was like. And I loved the combination of science with practice, how you use the current literature to figure out what are the best things to recommend for individuals that have either illnesses or they just want to improve their diet. So that's kind of how I got into it. And it sealed the deal for that major. And went on to graduate school and loved the classes at the master's level. And then again, at the doctoral level, some of the professors really said to me, you need to go ahead and do a doctorate. So my dad had a doctorate, my mother had a master's. So it was kind of in the family to be a part of higher ed.
So you knew that was what your path was going to be once you got into it. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think they had a plan and I had a plan and it matched.
I love that. So you were in school during the 70s. Did you come across the NutriBird and what was your feelings towards it?
That was kind of that I do remember NutriBird. It did get a lot of attention. It was kind of goofy, but so are cartoons, so are other types of media that were used to advance different products or programs or people. So it wasn't my favorite. I in those days I was in the university realm learning, and it seemed a little goofy, but it attracted attention, so it was okay. Didn't bother us.
The early social media campaign was
exactly.
So you've had a really interesting career, going back to working kind of while you were doing your degree, to working as a nutritionist at the hospital, to running a private practice, to writing books. And then eventually you became a professor and the dean at the University of North Florida. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey and kind of how you ended up there?
Sure. It was really just a case of opportunities. And I'm one of those people that if someone offers me an opportunity, I really look at it, and for the most part, I'm ready to jump in. So all of those experiences built on the previous experiences that I'd had and helped me to get the next opportunity when it arose. So And I love them all. I picked the right career. There was no doubt about that. And so it was just great fun. And I met my partner in Nutrition Associates when we started that business. I met her at the Jacksonville Dietetic Association meeting. So again, that's how these things progress and happen. And she had experience in private practice. She'd owned a private practice before she moved to Jacksonville, and we decided to give it a try. So we started Nutrition Associates. We had contracts with long-term care facilities, mental health facilities. We did adolescent mental health. And we also saw private patients in our office. So that was a whole new experience, having an office, running an office, and then going out and doing these things with the various agencies. And in the meantime, I met Dr. Susan Mitchell, who is in Orlando and at a FDA conference, and we decided to write a book. So after we talked about, what options were to collaborate, and we figured we can write a book. She was in Orlando, I was in Jacksonville. We can certainly do that and meet in the middle if we need to. So we did, and we ended up writing 3 books over time. We had a wonderful agent in New York who helped us, and that was just a really special and a long-term friendship that has continued for sure with Susan. And then Dr. Judy Rodriguez at UNF called and said, we have an opening for a professor. And by that time, I'd done private practice for a while, and I love teaching, I love speaking. And so she said, you should apply. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. And I was fortunate to be selected. So UNF was wonderful. I love teaching all the different levels, and actually, being in the dean's office and working with the deans, that was really interesting too, because UNF has nutrition with all of the other health professions. So it's a college of health, and that I love the cross combination of working together with other professions. And I used to tell the students, when you leave us, you need to know about these other professions. They're going to be one of your best resources to help you with patient care or whatever you decide to do. So it was a great experience.
Oh, that's amazing. So I'm going to ask a little bit deeper there. So when you were working with Nutrition Associates and you were writing your books, one of the things that has come up in some of these interviews, just for everyone to remember, is this was before internet, right? So you talk about meeting halfway with your colleague in Orlando and your agent in New York. What was that process like before we could just email people the information we needed?
Yeah, I think we did some we did have some computers, but they were pretty bare bones. And so a lot of it was sending contracts back and forth in the mail, writing things and mailing them to them. So it was a lot less streamlined than it is now. Everything is right in front of you. You can send things, you can see people. So I traveled to New York a bunch of times for meetings. And so you just did things a little differently. We didn't think anything of it because that was the way it was. So it wasn't like we were missing anything. We didn't know what we were missing at that point. So you just figure it out.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you were really active in the Florida Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. You had a ton of different roles. So we see you show up as the Orange Blossom editor, as the diet manual editor for many iterations of the diet manual. And notably, in the mid 80s, you were the first ADA state media representative for Florida. And so you and Kathy Stone were chosen to educate dietitians across the state on how to contact and participate with media outlets, trying to increase recognitions of dietitians. So I was wondering if you could tell me about that experience and what it was like in the 80s trying to really work with the media and bring attention to our field.
Yeah, I think, the idea was people don't know what dietitians do, and they don't understand the importance of the role of the dietitian in healthcare and in the community. And so The idea was if you could get on TV and talk about that and show them through examples some of the things that dietitians do, people would understand better why we're so important and what our role is. So I was in private practice and I was working with the media to try to get our private practice well known. And it was fun to do segments, even though they required you had to haul all the food down to the station and have them do it. So when the opportunity came to help other RDNs establish media skills and then work with the academy nationally on some of those things, that was exciting. And I applied and I was lucky enough to be selected.
Yeah, it sounds like it was an intense training. You guys wrote in the Orange Blossom that you had to tape commercials, they critiqued you.
Oh yes, yeah, it was because we didn't know, we just had never done anything like that. Now, I think my training in the doctoral level and standing up and speaking and working with your dissertation and being able to explain that all of that training, everything that I did before helped me get where I was at the time. And that's true of all of it. They're all stepping stones that are just on your way to where you'll eventually be.
Yeah, and speaking of stepping stones, so you did this training in 85. By 88, you guys were setting up a network of media representatives across the state. And what I think is so interesting is it was at the same time that we were working on licensure issues. So we wrote the first bill in 85. Right when you guys were setting up this media representation, do you think that it made a difference in those licensure efforts?
Yeah, I would say it did. I mean, we'd already been working on getting licensure in Florida when this happened, and so it was kind of a natural extension of that work to try to set up these media reps all around the state. And and I think what we were trying to do is help more and more and more people understand what a dietitian is, what our training is like, and what we have to offer, and all of the various places that dietitians are needed in healthcare, in the community, in education, all of those areas. And they're all different. And people have different trainings and different preparations for those things, but all of them are incredibly important.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds so similar to the messaging we're constantly saying today, right? That people don't know what dietitians are and what we do, and we have to promote ourselves. Although the difference might be the social media versus the
I
traditional.
think that has made a huge difference because anyone can get on and be seen online now. And I think people look online for answers to questions that they have, and more than likely they're going to run across a dietitian if it has something to do with nutrition. So that's great.
Yeah, we hope so, right? We hope they run across a dietitian.
Well, yeah.
Later in the 80s, you were named to be part of that nutrition practice council that had just been established. And then in 1990, you were chair of the council. What was it like being on the council right when it was brand new?
That was really interesting because it was a state agency. And for me, I thought it was wonderful that it put dietitians at the same level as they had a nursing council, they had physicians, they had all of many of the other health professionals that were included, and we were not. And so when that opportunity came along, that was a no-brainer. We needed to be in with those groups, and we needed to have regulation of our profession in the same way that they had. So it was real exciting. It was fun. We drove over to Tallahassee because, you had to have face-to-face meetings, and it was really a fun time, though. And I'm so proud of the dietitians that have followed in those footsteps and kept all of the laws and things up to date for dietitians.
Yeah, were you guys actually writing all of the rules in that committee?
Yeah, they had samples and we borrowed from some of the other health professions in terms of how we set it up. And the people it was HRS in those days helped us, kind of strategize how to get it situated. And then it was off and running.
That had to have been so interesting being part of that group that was really innovating in that area for our
We
profession.
were so happy to be recognized as a health profession along with the other health professions that it was just a labor of love to try to get that set up and get it going for our profession.
Especially after working so hard to get those laws passed.
Right.
So we're going to skip forward in time a little bit. You have been at the forefront of so many different issues as we look at how history has collided with the profession. So you happen to be the treasurer of the National Academy in 2019, 2020 as COVID hit. I was wondering,
Right.
how was that navigated? What was it like being in those inner circles as we didn't know what was going on and how we were going to react?
Well, it was a tough time because of COVID, and we didn't really know how to do things. But what we learned was that you can accomplish a lot from your home computer. It's not like we're doing today, but it was available. And when you have smart, like-minded professionals from around the country that can get on a call or get on, something on a computer, then that's the way to do it. And so that was really a highlight because what I learned was that the Academy employees were always there if we had a problem. They had ideas to how to improve how we communicated and how we got our messages across to each other and how we could implement them. So it really, I mean, I'd worked with the Florida Academy, which I loved, and seeing the National Academy and all of the ways that they work to support everyone in the country that was a dietitian, that was really an eye opener. I'd run a small business, I'd worked as treasurer of the Academy, but all of that helped my business acumen, but it was really understanding what it takes to run a large national organization that the Academy help me figure out. I'm a big fan, always will be, of the Academy at every level because they're the only ones that represent us and have our best interest at heart.
Do you think that learning how to adapt in those challenging times has helped the Academy be a bit more nimble as we move forward?
Yeah, they're always progressing. And they have different leadership at different times, and so that changes things. But I really applaud them for the work that they do because it's ongoing, it'll never stop, and there are other people that want to be like dietitians but aren't prepared or aren't trained, and we have to deal with that. And so we having a national academy, a state academy, and even our local districts, I think that has helped our knowledge, people to get to understand what we do and why we're essential, especially in healthcare.
You have been an award-winning Academy dietitian. You won the Medallion Award in 2022. How did that feel?
That was really an honor too. A lot of my close friends that I'd worked with as dietitians had served in leadership levels at the Academy. Judy Rodriguez, who is a good friend, and many others. So that was really a wonderful recognition, I guess, of all of the work that we did. And for me, it wasn't work; it was love. I just enjoyed all of it. When you ran across something that was in your way, you figured out a way around it. And all of the dietitians that I worked with were smart. They knew what to do, and if it didn't work, we just tried something else until we got where we wanted to be. So that's kind of how you progress, I think, in these things. Somebody gets in your way, you go around them, or you figure out a way to get through them. And so that's what we did.
I love that. It's a true message of goal setting and resilience, of making sure we get to those goals. So you're not done yet. You're currently the chair of the foundation, where you do a lot with leadership, looking at the financial health. How did your prior roles within the Academy help you in this current one that you're serving?
I think really one of the things that helped me the most was having a private practice, because that's how I learned the business side of working in this profession. And then, the foundation is really focused on fundraising and helping students. And so my work at UNF was also really important there, understanding what the students' needs were, what were the impediments to them finishing their degrees at the master's level as well as the doctoral level now that we have. And certainly in the undergrad phase, because that's when students kind of decide where they think they might want to be and where they might want to go. So I think that collaboration is key. And that's another thing I learned. I couldn't have done any of these things without all of the other wonderful dietitians and the work that the people who are employed by the Academy do to support us and help us with whatever we dream up next that we think we should be doing. So it's been a wonderful journey. I love it, and I'm excited to be part of the foundation. We have the Make It a Million campaign, which is coming very, very, very close to finishing because we're going to make a million. And so I think that will really help the future of dietitians who need those scholarships and benefits to help them get through the programs.
That's amazing. And we know that it is much needed for many of our students that face financial burdens as they go through the.
Definitely. And it's, we have a lot of supporters, at UNF and other universities, people in the community that recognize what we do, and and they give scholarships and they give money to universities for scholarships. And that's how lots of students get through. So it's really, really a helpful thing. And it's great to be recognized as something that they want to do.
So important. So as you look at all of these many things that you've done in your career and in the Florida Academy, the National Academy, what role would you say that being part of these organizations has had on you and on your career?
Well, I think it's been essential to my career. I don't think I would have been able to do half of the things that I did without these organizations and learning from other dietitians what's needed and thrashing out ideas about what we should be doing and how we should be progressing. And some of my very, very, very best friends are dietitians for sure, because we work together to try to get some of these things done. And Florida has always been a major player in this. My hope is that our current leaders will take advantage of opportunities as they arise. I'm sure they will. They're smart and they're forward looking, and that's what we need. We need people that can think about, not be mired in how did we do it in the past, and we have to keep doing that. We need people that are excited about the future and think about what challenges, but also what opportunities we'll have. And the being on a Zoom call and doing this is a way that people can run their entire private practices now online. And so there's so many, many more opportunities, I think, now than what we had. We had to drive to meetings, which was fun. We got to know each other really well, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it seems like opportunities have accelerated as the technology has accelerated, and that's a good thing. That we should all be happy about that.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm hearing both sides of that in these interviews, just the importance of the in-person networking and the close bonds that were formed from some of the things that had to happen before, but then also how technology is driving change within our field.
Yes, you and I are sitting here looking at each other, talking as if we were in the same room. So it's not prohibitive if we take advantage of what we can do. And that's kind of, I'm a real optimist. I've always been that way. People say, oh my gosh, you always find the bright side. Well, that's just the way I am. I want to figure out a good way to do something. And so that's kind of been my roadmap.
I love that. I love that. So you closed out the year of your presidency for Florida in 2006, saying, when people talk about the benefits of membership to FDA and ADA, they often make a list of things like the listserv, the newsletters, the daily news, etc. Without a doubt, for me, the biggest benefit of being a member of the organization is the mentoring, networking, and close friendships that I've made with a group of like-minded professionals. Is this still how you feel in 2025?
Doesn't it sound like it is? Yes, definitely. Collaboration is key. Alone, you're just one person with an idea. And without the contacts and the friendships and the collaborations that you make along the way, you can succeed, but you're not going to succeed at the same level that you would with the support of all of those people. So I think it's really important to work out who's on the same page as you and get involved, get them involved in what you want to do. And it's not just dietitians. I mean, one of the benefits of working at UNF was that the nutrition department was in the College of Health. And so we had nursing and we had physical therapy and so all of the other health professions learn to appreciate the ones that were in there with them. And that's what we need to do in the community is find supporters who see value in what we do. And then it's not us advocating for ourselves, it's them helping us advocate for ourselves. So I think that's really important is to reach out and find supporters that can help you achieve your agenda.
Yeah, kind of boosting those.
Exactly. That lifting you up. Yes, exactly.
So, what is your hope for the future of dietetics across our state?
Well, I think Florida has always been a major player in moving the profession forward, and I'm confident that our current leaders will take advantage of opportunities as they arise, and I'm sure they will. We're always going to have challenges. We're always going to have people that want to do our job without the education and the training that we have, but we've always worked together to overcome those challenges, and I think we'll continue to do that. I think we can only go up from here, and that's kind of how we've always thought about it as we faced each of these challenges that we've talked about today. Okay, there's got to be a way around this. There's got to be another way. Let's figure it out. And so I think the future's bright. Nationally, our membership is down a little bit, and I think encouraging people to see the value of being a member of the Academy. It's the only organization that is organized just for us and our profession and working to support us in our profession. So I think that's really important. I know it's a dues issue and it's a money issue for many, but through some of the scholarships and things, I hope that people will take advantage of those and be able to join early on, as I did, and then keep it going because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take all of us, no matter what our age or stage is, to make our profession progress. And that's always been the way it has been.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And, I think sometimes we do focus on those tangible items that the Academy is giving us, and we forget the role that it plays in the overall career and in who we become as people. And so hearing some of these stories, I'm hoping is going to help the new generation understand that a bit more.
Oh my God, Catherine, like what a legend, right? Dr. Kathy Christie, she had private practice. She's in academia. She's an author. She was a media spokesperson before media spokesperson, like the official title, like existed. Like so many hats. Wow. Wow.
I know. And I think her consistent involvement through the state and the National Academy over the years just shows what dedication that she has for the profession. I especially enjoyed hearing about what that first practice council was like, after they worked so hard to get the law to be able to actually sit on the practice council and determine how that was going to run, how we were going to handle licensure. I just think it's so interesting to hear these stories from the people that were there and were actually doing it.
I know, right? Like, what a strong foundation that they've set up for us. Like, such great examples that we have to just continue on as, we pass the baton to the future as well. Like, wow, I'm just so blown away.
I know, it's been such a joy as we go through these interviews, just hearing the interconnections between working on making sure the public understands who we are and what we do as dietitians, to trying to get a really strong licensure law in place, to developing the practice council, and then continuing on through the profession, trying to really make a strong foundation for our future. And I think that that's something that Dr. Christie really emphasizes, right? So even within her work now as the chair of the Academy Foundation, really thinking about those students and how are we funding them and how are we making sure that our profession stays strong beyond the years that we are here.
Absolutely. And with all of that, right? Another thing that I love what she said was how she emphasized on collaboration is key. And not just within what we are doing in regards to legislation and advocacy and standing up for our profession, but also showing up and collaborating within the other healthcare professionals as well. Like, I love how they set that precedence in the university model as well. So that's showing our students like, hey, when you get out there in the real world, like, you get to collaborate with these other healthcare professionals while standing your ground as a dietitian. So awesome.
So seriously, it's so important for us to be a member of that interprofessional team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think another great episode of the Orange Blossom Trailblazers. Can't wait for our next one coming up soon.
Don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe as we continue to learn and grow together.
And tell us what you think. Hit the comment box.